Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Please confirm if you can hear me. We're about to commence the program. Those on the virtual call, please. Can you confirm the audio if you can hear me? Okay, thank you very much. All right, so good morning, everyone, both our participants and those joining us physically at the hub and virtual participants. My name is Awal Hassanwara. I'm the hub manager, Kebbi Innovation and Tech Hub. And I'm indeed delighted to welcome you to this second edition of Kebbi Innovation and Tech Hub series titled Leveraging Technology for Economic Growth in Kebbi State, with a special focus on agriculture. And I would like to acknowledge the presence of our panelists who, out of their schedule, took their time to join us today. We have the Honorable Commissioner, Kebbi State Ministry of Information and Communication Technology, Honorable Abdullahi Mohammed Maguro. You're welcome, sir. If you could perhaps wave to our participants that are online. Thank you very much. And we also have the Honorable Commissioner, Kebbi State Ministry of Agriculture, Honorable Megere Abdullah Hedakingari. You're welcome, sir. If you can as well wave to our participants. All right, thank you very much. And while we're still awaiting the arrival of the Commissioner of Animal Health, we proceed. We have Mr. Suleiman Umar, the Bank of Industry State Manager, Kebbi State, who is joining us virtually. Mr. Suleiman, if you could wave to us as well. If you can shift us so that our participants can see. All right, thank you. Good morning. All right, and we have Akin Alabi from Corporate Farmers International. If you could also wave to our participants at the hub. Okay, that's Mr. Akin. Thank you for joining us. And we have Nasir A.M. Mama, the founder and CEO of Vedant Agritech. Mr. Nasir, if you can put up your video and perhaps wave to our participants. Oh, you did a virtual waving. Okay, thank you very much. And then indeed, all the farmers and agro-entrepreneurs, farmers associations that have joined us here. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, once again, good morning. It is with great joy and honor that I welcome you yet to another session of our Tech for Development series. In our first edition, we had a very engaging discussion on education, which has brought about disruptive discussions around education in the state. And we hope to continue with that across several sectors. And today we're in agriculture. And the agricultural sector is the bedrock of economic development, which provides nutrition, the dietary needs of the nation, but most importantly, also the raw materials for industrialization. And sustainable agricultural practices are necessary for achieving food security of any nation. Hence, we need to have this kind of continuous discussions because we need innovative solutions to help drive the sustainability of agricultural practices. And the need to have continuous discussions on how to come up with increasingly more innovative ideas to make sure that we don't just achieve food security, but also have surplus to support industrialization that will help fuel our economic growth. And with a population of over 4 million people as of 2016, Kebbi State is mainly an agrarian state, which I'm sure, especially from the Ministry of Agriculture, we acknowledge. The state boasts as the largest producer of rice in Nigeria and among top producers of other crops such as soya, cassava, millets, sorghum, granules, and livestock. And in recent years, with an investment of 15 billion naira in the agricultural sector, and mainly in rice production by the federal government. Over 250,000 hectares of rice was cultivated, and Kebbi State realized over 150 billion naira from rice sales in 2017, for example, alone. Now, this feat shows that the agricultural sector of Kebbi State is very viable. And we've also seen countries like China, who despite having 7% of arable land, feed 22% of the world. And also Israel, who having a very poor geography, succeeded in transforming their agricultural sector and emerged as a world leader in agriculture and water management. Israel records the highest cow milk productivity in the world, 13,000 liters against the average of the world, which is 6,000. The highest tomato yield, which is 300 tons per hectare against the 50 tons per hectare global average, and the lowest post-harvest grain loss globally, which is at mere 0.5% compared to 20% globally. Now, all these feats were possible because of the technologies these countries leveraged. Now, leveraging technology, the agricultural output of Kebbi State can be improved while reducing agricultural waste. And this is a strategic point where we think this hub or this incubation hub will play a very vital role by developing the next set of innovators. And as a way to close, the hub is a strategic partnership between the Kebbi State government and the Bank of Industry to bring tech education and tech support to Kebbi State. And for us is to help build the next set of innovators that will help us achieve the likes of what China and Israel have achieved in terms of utilizing technology to improve agriculture. So going forward, we hope to have similar sessions such as this with the Ministry of Agriculture, liaising with the Ministry of ICT and the Ministry of Animal Health to see how we support youth to be able to have this innovative mindset and come up with solutions that will help develop agriculture. So I will thank you once again for joining us, and I'll hand us over to our moderator, who I forgot to introduce, Ms. Chinyelu Chikwendu. She'll be the moderator of the session. Apologies, ma'am, for not introducing you earlier. Perhaps if you could as well wave to our participants, they will be taking over the session. All right, that is Ms. Chinyelu Chikwendu. So I wish every one of us a happy discussion and a very vibrant engagement. Thank you very much. So Ma, you can take over.
Okay, great. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, honorable commissioners and all dignitaries seated here. All protocols duly observed. Good morning to all our panelists. Good morning to all the guests that are here with us today. My name is Chinyelu Chikwendu. I work with Vertebra and I'll be moderating this session. So as Awal has rightly introduced, the session is a series that the hub has been putting together, to support economic development in the state using ICT. And as he has rightly stated, today we'll be having the session for agriculture, and that's why we are very honored to have everyone seated here and everyone joining us via Zoom. So I'll go straight to the panel session. I'll quickly start with you, sir, Honorable Magoro. I want you to please briefly give us an overview. Of sitting down here for today. That is the discussion around leveraging technology to drive economic growth. So in 2 minutes, if you can do that, sir, then I'll take some of the panelists that need to leave. Just an intro. Awa, please unmute him.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Good morning, everyone. Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture, the Permanent Secretary for Agriculture, Mr. Akin Alabi, Mr. Suleiman, and Mr. Nasir. Thank you for joining us today on our second series of the Kebbi Tech Series at the Kebbi Innovation Hub. This series, as earlier mentioned by Awal and Chinelo, is a set of series or number of series which we have planned to have and regarding the economic development of Kebbi State, to see how various ministries and MDS, ministries, departments, and agencies can impact the economic development of Kebbi State leveraging on ICT. The Ministry of ICT, being the coordinating ministry of all ICT activities, was charged by His Excellency Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu to make sure that we create a conducive environment where the citizens of Kebbi State and also the government can leverage on ICT by making sure that the right infrastructure and the right human capacity development is in place to make sure that all these things can come together and work out properly for the strategy and policies which we have also put in place. We have come up with various initiatives which have also helped with the agri sector over the past couple of years from the point of creation of this ministry. And that I will leave for later to discuss further. I would like to thank you all now for coming for this program, and I wish us all a fruitful deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so we'll go right into the panel discussion, and I'll be starting with Mr. Nasser Yamama, and that's because he has requested that we need to leave. Thank you. He has requested that he will need to leave early. So I'll be starting with you, Mr. Nasser. Awa, please unmute him. It's very good to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Nasser, please introduce yourself.
Thank you for having me.
Introduce yourself. I know you're an entrepreneur.
Yes, and unfortunately, I'm at an event here in Cambridge and I have to leave. So apologies for that. My name is Nasser Emama. I am an entrepreneur. I'm the founder and CEO of Verdant Agritech. Verdant builds digital technologies for agriculture. We've been working for the past 5-6 years on agricultural data for decision making, basically from the side all the way to financial institutions, and banks to insurance companies, and also governments and other stakeholders of the agricultural value chain. What I have stood for the past 7 years, like I've said, it's mostly that agricultural data should be used for agricultural decisions. Where there's no data, I believe that decisions will be not only poor, but counterproductive. And yeah, I'm totally excited. Kebbi is a place that's close to my heart, and Nigeria's agriculture cannot be discussed in completion without talking about Kebbi. So thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nasser. We really do appreciate your presence. And we hope to reach out to you, at some other times too, to come and speak to people in the hub and also participate in some of the programs that we have.
No, absolutely. And I mean, particularly programs like this, this is the incredible power of agriculture. This is ICT. You can take almost every sector that there is, and it will be relevant for agriculture. And you know very well that in this day and time, we cannot, overlook the immense power of information and communications technologies in improving agricultural productivity, in reducing agricultural inefficiencies, and also in empowering isolated and completely forgotten, if you like, smallholder farmers who are the majority of our farmers. So I'm happy to do that. I have a background in creative technology, but really I've been an agricultural person. I'm mostly known for my agricultural work, even though I did not study agriculture. So this shows you how important everybody is, whatever role they're playing in their respective professional fields in agriculture. Agriculture is a sector that will have experts in supply chain, experts in economics, experts in animal health and nutrition, experts in agronomy, all be relevant. Experts in information and communication technologies are not only welcome, but greatly desired and necessary in agriculture. So yes, please, anytime, I'm more than happy to join. And I can take one question before I go if you have the time for me.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for that. So I will ask what I've said. I mean, from your experience as an agricultural entrepreneur, what are the opportunities in the sector that you think ICT can help to create employment and wealth for people?
Okay, this is a very important question. And first of all, I would say the foremost opportunity is to connect the agricultural value chain. One of the biggest problems that we have in Nigerian agriculture is that smallholder farmers are isolated, usually in remote areas. They are not connected to formal markets like banks and and buyers and the capital markets, or whatever you want to say. Information and communication technologies, digital technologies present an unprecedented opportunity to link in a remote local government of Kebbi to financial services, to markets, to good agricultural practices, using, even if it's a feature phone or a non-smart phone. And at the way we're going, you will agree with the duration of mobile technologies. Almost every corner in the state is connected. So it's not far-fetched to think of one system. I mean, Mr. Akin is here and a lot of experts are here who will probably talk about this more, that we are there yet. Like, we are already there. We can connect farmers. We can overcome isolation. I think that's one of the biggest opportunities. Secondly, regarding jobs and potential for economic development, look, from developing a mobile app or a web system, all the way to implementing it, to mapping farms, to moderating, supervising systems, there are millions of jobs, if I could say, in Kebbi alone in digital agriculture. And this is just one state. And we're talking many value chains. A lot of people talk about rice in Kebbi, but I can see at least 23 different value chains, ranging from cattle to other types of livestock, all the way to the different grains that we have, to so many other things. So even if you took it by value chain, there are millions of jobs. Agriculture, and particularly digital agriculture alone, can take Kebbi and Nigeria further than most sectors would. So it's an incredible opportunity and great area to talk about. I believe if we were to sort of x-ray the sector and bring out all the jobs and all the potential, we'll probably take most of the day to do that. Some people even wrote books about it, right? Great.
Wow, thank you so much, Nasiru. I mean, we will definitely bring you back to give more extensive conversations around this, because the essence of having this kind of sessions is to get insights from experts like you and actually put some of these ideas into practice so that we can get that
Absolutely.
value. We can drive economic development. Thank you so much for this session. I mean, for your time here. You have set the tone for a very wonderful conversation. I mean, for all of us, I'm sure everybody is excited as we go into the session. Thank you so much, and we look forward to having you at some other time to speak to us.
It's a huge honor. It's a huge honor. I respect a lot of my people in Kebbi. I see all the commissioners actually are my respected brothers and friends, and I look forward to definitely come back. Thank you for having me.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much, Nasir. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye. Wow. Can all agree with us that was quite insightful, and it is setting a very good tone for this conversation. So in the light of what he has said, sir, please, I'd like to go to you, Honorable Commissioner Dakingari. Please, if you can unmute him. Honorable Commissioner, sir. Yeah, so can you please give us an introduction?
Hello?
Okay. Honorable Commissioner, sir, can you please give us an introduction of your ministry and what, the initiatives the government has put in place to drive agriculture in the state, sir?
Honorable Commissioner, ICT, Permanent Secretary, Minister of Agriculture, my team of directors, and all the important personalities on this program. Good morning, all. I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. I would like to say that I'm happy to be part of this program. And that's why I came with all my team. Agriculture, as you are all aware, I think has been there with us since time immemorial. Until subsequently started becoming a real business. Right now, agriculture is into real business with so many value chains being developed. I would like to confine myself with the coming of this administration, as you are all aware, and the state of the economy of the country as it were in 2015, when Mr. President Muhammad Buhari came, and everybody knows that seeing how the economy was going down as a result of the meltdown across the world, because at that time we divorced ourselves with the agriculture that we were known with, only dependent on oil, and seeing that the oil sector was crashing then, and we came in a recession, I think he took it upon himself to launch the Anko Grower program for the farmers of Nigeria, and that took place in Kebbi State. So I must say that I'm very happy that our principal, the Kebbi State Executive Governor, then also took it upon himself to lead the way. And everybody in Nigeria knows the success story of how the Anko Grower program increased the volume of farmers across Nigeria. And not only in rice, but all the other crops also came on board in terms of the volume of production and the harvest. We can recall sometime last year, the success story of the program was launched. And everybody knows that jobs were created through that. Food security was assured, and then wealth was also created for the people of Kebbi State, and I believe for the people of Nigeria. And we came out of recession, divorcing ourselves from spending billions of dollars importing food into this country. And we also can see glaringly the numerous rice milling companies that came on board. Even here in Kebbi State, we have about 4 large milling companies. That is the Labana, the Wakot, the Lolo rice, and the Dangote rice, in addition to numerous other medium and small scale milling companies. I think also that created a lot of value chain in the rice production because all these made sure that we eat what we produce and we also sell what we produce. Other than that also, the Anko Brewer improved and increased the volume of other crops coming on board in dry season farming. Those that traditionally were only known during the wet season farming, like groundnut production, maize production is now there, and I believe the production of millet can also be done during dry season. We are trying to see that our farmers are kept abreast and maybe accept that it can also be produced. Other than that also, since we came, there has been a very tremendous drive in getting improved variety of inputs to our farmers. Since 2015, there was no year that we have not been able to procure improved variety of seeds cutting across the crops, all the crops that are being produced in the state. That too tremendously assisted our smallholder farmers in increasing their farming activities and also increasing the volume of harvest. If one can say, before the coming of this administration, I think if we take a rice, for example, farmer can only maybe cultivate 1 or 1.5 tons per hectare. But now, with the numerous support services by the government, Nigeria, and Kebbi State, where we are, a farmer can harvest up to 7.5 to 8 tons per hectare. This, I believe, is a tremendous achievement in the area of agricultural development. So all these are achieved because of the seriousness and the support, collaboration with all the stakeholders in agriculture, the Central Bank of Nigeria and the other banks that are involved in agriculture, state governments, and all the other agencies trying to give support to our farmers in this country. Another area the government since inception has also been able to procure some small implements that are easily accessible to our smallholder farmers. These implements like power tillers. Ordinarily, if you cannot get a tractor, power tiller can assist in seeing that agriculture is developed across the state, across the country, because more people will be able to get this tiller to manage their lands And also we have threshers that will be used after harvest in order to reduce the losses that are incurred by these smallholder farmers as a result of how they do that manually. There are also rice reapers and many others have been procured and distributed to our smallholder farmers across the state since 2015. One will not also forget that the Kebbi state government, under the leadership of His Excellency, Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, has also always procured chemical fertilizer, both during wet and dry season farming seasons. And that also greatly assisted our farmers because of the number of problems encountered as a result of climate change and floods, ravaging floods that have contributed in degrading our soil fertility tops. I think coupled with the variety of improved inputs and the fertilizer component, this also greatly assisted our farmers in getting bumper harvest across the many years we have been here since 2015. I want to also recall that the inception of this administration, the government of KBZ also procured tractors. And these tractors, I think about 100 of them. And it was a blessing that the Kebbi state government also entered a partnership with Mecca Tractor Hiring Services Company and distributed these tractors across the 5 zones already established in the state. Building Kebbi, Albungu, Yauri, Zulu, and the Bagudo zones. This is in order to make farmers who may be interested in getting tractors to manage their farms easily accessible within the range of these locations. And this, I can tell you, is also giving us a lot of harvests that normally before this were very minimal. So food production in Kebbi State, because of the many supports that I have enumerated, is becoming a hub in Kebbi State. Kebbi State now can boast of being a hub for rice production. And right now, even though the wheat anchor is being anchored under the Wheat Farmers Association of Nigeria, Kebbi State branch, this crop has also been planted across Kebbi State. And we are anticipating that the wheat anchor, the wheat production will be parallel to rice production, such that maybe at the end of the day, in Kebbi State, that is where a source of rice and the wheat confirmed seeds can be procured for further planting across the country. Other than that, we have numerous support services being undertaken by the Kebbi State government through some of our agencies. These two have contributed a lot, targeting local governments here and there. This program targeting this area, this program targeting infrastructural development. A lot of these things are being handled in order to ease the agribusiness nature of agriculture. Construction of feeder roads, construction of culverts and drainages and bridges to ease accessibility of our farmers in the state, accessibility to their farms, accessibility to the markets and also maybe after harvest, if they want to transport their produce, they can easily do that either to the markets or to the stores or to their houses. This, I can say, is very vibrant in Kebbi State. So agricultural sector in Kebbi State is being handled vibrantly by the present leadership of His Excellency, the single Senator of Atiku Bagudu. I think I may stop here. Maybe as this discussion goes, maybe if there are areas that I have forgotten, I may come back. Like I said, I'm together with my team of officials. The permanent secretary is a renowned agriculturalist of high repute, and we have all the professional directors under the ministry. So whatever is required here, we are ready to put everybody that requests to know. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Honorable Commissioner. In fact, I actually feel like clapping. Can we please just give a round of applause? I mean, we've listened to all the things that the government has put in place for the agricultural sector in the state, and it is mind-blowing. It is actually very, very amazing. Thank you so much, sir, for all you're doing for the state. I will also thank the governor and the president too, you know, from the federal side for all the support. There's a lot going on in Kebbi State. I think, in fact, I think we need to do more of publicity on this, because there's so much going on from what you have said, sir, and it's extremely commendable. Thank you so much, sir, for all the work, for you and your team, and for all the initiatives that have been put in place. They are actually amazing initiatives from what I have listened to. Thank you so much. So we'll go on with the panel discussion. Very interesting. We have heard so much from what Honorable Commissioner has said today about what the state is doing. And I would like to go to Honorable Magoro, sir, ICT Commissioner. So we have listened to the Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture, sir. We want to know how your ministry is working with them, what initiatives that the ICT Commissioner has put in place to support the work of the Ministry of Agriculture, sir. Please unmute him and mute the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Sorry. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you for that question. Now, on the creation of this ministry by His Excellency Senator Atiku Bagudu back in 2020, January 2020, he put it across to us as a challenge, as the team from the Ministry of ICT, to see how we could help work with the Ministry of Agriculture and see how ICT can become an important part of their daily activities. Now, one of the first things which we did, as earlier mentioned by Nasser, was to look at the data. How do we get this data on agriculture in Kebbi State? Without the data, we cannot plan and make sure that we have take decisions that are data-driven. So one of the first things we did in 2020 was to create a data capture portal. Now, with this data capture portal, information on agriculture, that's the agricultural sector, like the farmers, their locations, the type of crops they plant or they're into, the different challenges that they face, and etc., was captured. Now, with this data, we made it available to the Ministry of Agriculture and also other ministries, so that they could plan and take out decisions that are data-driven based on different programs that might come up from the state, or the federal level, or intervention programs that might come up from development partners. Now, another area again, which we've worked or we're working on with the Ministry of Agriculture, is we carried out recently an ICT readiness assessment of the state. Now, this basically gave us an idea of what the ICT position is in the various ministries. How prepared are these ministries? The infrastructure that they have available and what they lack. Now with this, basically, we can plan, see how we can get the right infrastructure that's needed. Basically, if it's internet connectivity, if it's the hardware that they need, and also looking at the capacity building of the various staff in the ministries. Now, this wasn't just for at the state level. This went all the way down to the local government level. Now, this, of course, would improve the citizens' engagement, basically, between the ministry staff and the farmers that are out there across the states. So basically, these are the two main areas that we have worked at the moment with the Ministry of Agriculture, and this information is available. Regarding the hardware, very soon we shall roll out and supply hardware to the various ministries. We're in talks and about to sign an agreement with an ISP that will provide internet connectivity to the various MDAs across the states and even all the way to the local government level. And also, capacity building, we have already done it from the senior level, which was the commissioners and the PERMSECs, but we'll be moving down now to the directors and other civil servants. This will, from the last check, was going to cover up to almost 20,000 civil servants across the states. So basically, these are the areas we have worked on, and we plan on working further again in various areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Great initiative. Amazing initiative, sir. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay. Very interesting session. Everybody in the crowd, I hope we are enjoying the session, and I hope we are appreciating the work that the honorable commissioners and the team are doing in the sector. If you can I please see your hands up from the audience? Okay, amazing. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. All right, we have an agricultural entrepreneur, an expert in the field with us here today. The person of Mr. Aki Alabi. He's the co-founder of Corporate Farmers. Like I said, he's an agricultural entrepreneur, and he's been sharing knowledge, across the country in terms of the opportunities in this agricultural space. So I'd like to call on him to please share briefly his experience as an agricultural entrepreneur in Nigeria, and also to speak to the opportunities in this sector that we are not yet seeing. I know a lot has been said today. Both commissioners that have spoken have given amazing insight as to what they are doing. But looking at it from an outsider perspective, somebody that serves beyond states in Nigeria, can you talk us through your experience as an agricultural entrepreneur and what opportunities that we can take advantage of, and the people of Kebbi can also take advantage of? So over to you, Mr. Aki Alabi.
All right. Thank you very much, Chinelu. Thank you so much. Hope I'm clear enough for everybody to hear me.
Very clear, sir.
First of all, I want to say thank you to the Honorable Commissioners for ICT and Agriculture. I keep telling people, even when Chinelu contacted me, I said, look, Kebbi is my home. I'm a friend of Kebbi. I'm a son of Kebbi anytime, any day. We come to Kebbi virtually every year to actually, develop projects, work with our people in terms of agriculture. So I love this fact that we're having this conversation virtually, and the fact that we are building this synergy and building an ecosystem, bringing ICT, digitalization, and agriculture into the same room. It's quite interesting and quite amazing. It's what we have wanted to see for a very long number of years, and we're glad that it is coming to fulfillment today. That is really, really exciting for me. So let me just give you a quick background of my quick journey as Corporate Farmers. So for us at Corporate Farmers International, our journey actually started about 15 years ago. And the beautiful part of it is that the dream or the concepts of Corporate Farmers International started with the power of ICT. So it means that what we did 15 years ago was that we built the entire company using the power of blogs. We were writing articles, on blog spots, on internet, on websites. And from there, we now started writing articles again on social media handles, Twitter space, and all that. And today, this same company that was built on ICT is now a full-fledged company that is worth millions of dollars today in Nigeria. So basically, that is our journey. So we understand the power of ICT in agriculture, the power of digitalization in agriculture. And Kebbi alone, who holds a very strong hold today in agriculture in Nigeria, it's a big advantage. So combining, looking at ICT, where you have best brains today in Nigeria, like your Honorable Commissioner, and also having the best brains today, talking about agriculture, agripreneurs, agricultural value chain in Kebbi, and coming together to build an ecosystem that would drive the sector to one whole atmosphere. That's a big advantage. And I must say that this is the right time for agripreneurs. This is the right time for other stakeholders to tap into the power and the opportunity around ICT. Nasiri has said it. It's a big ecosystem that we can begin to tap in. And thank God that the Honorable Commissioner also mentioned that they've started building using the power of data, aggregating what the farmers are doing, putting all together in power of data, in big data, so that it's easier for them to make decisions, as a department, and also transmit that decision to the Department of Agriculture and say, look, these are farmers, these are the needs, these are the number of farmers that are actually into this particular value chain, these are their needs. And with that, we can build a big ecosystem around the agricultural value chain. So Chidelo, if you still permit me to still speak further, I don't mind.
Please go ahead.
Okay,
yes,
great.
Please.
Now, great. So let me now begin to break it, a little bit down so that we could have a big knowledge of what the conversation is all about. How can we play effectively using ICT or digitalization to improve agriculture? I keep telling people, I say, digitalization, or let me say agri-tech, technology in context, doesn't have to be expensive before it's efficient, meaning that technology doesn't have to be the expensive ones we have to, get before we can use it to be more efficient in our day-to-day activities, especially the power of agriculture. Let me give a typical example, which we might be aware of. A couple of years ago, around 2013 to 2014, when the now president of AFDB, Dr. Akim Adesina, actually had to use the power of feature phones, mobile phones, to get informations, to transmit informations to local farmers. So it means that if you are in your village somewhere, probably in Zuru, and your local government needs to give you fertilizer, what you just need to do is just to send text message to those farmers in their locality, and they know the numbers of fertilizer they are getting, number of inputs they are getting, the location they're going to pick it from. And this has been able to curb the level of corruption or what have it, and ease distribution among farmers. And it's all the power of ICT. It's transmitting information that will make the work of farmers effective and efficient. And that is what agriculture is. It doesn't have to be as complicated as it is. So far that it's making the work of our farmers really efficient, productive, faster, then automatically means that it's a good advantage for us. Now, the beautiful part again is that because Kebbi is I could say is one of the biggest agrarian states today in Nigeria, based on the fact that you will see Kebbi in rice production, you see Kebbi in maize production, you see Kebbi in millet production, you see Kebbi in sugar, you see Kebbi also in onions. So it shows the volume and the extent in which Kebbi owes towards agricultural development today in Nigeria. Now, the only pushing effect we need to now push it further is just adding the power of ICT to it. And with that, it makes it easier for young agripreneurs in Kebbi State to build an ecosystem that would take Kebbi as a state to both international level and becomes one of the best agricultural producing states today, not only in Nigeria, but Africa at large. Now, how do we start? Today, virtually all young agripreneurs or youth, in Kebbi or everywhere has their smartphones. Everybody has used their smartphones. Everybody has, their Androids, their smart iOS and all that, iPhones and the likes. Now, how can we use even your small smartphones to even make your work easier and faster? For example, I'm a farmer and I have a small farm probably somewhere in Arugungu or Zuru, and I'm producing I'm producing tons of maize, and I need a market that can actually expose me to a larger audience, or I needed a market that can expose me to a larger center. With my mobile phones, I can actually give snapshots, videos of my production, or give a process of what I'm doing from cultivation, to the management, to the harvest, and document it and probably share with likes of the big off-takers today in Nigeria, like the Olams or whatever, and they see what I'm doing on my farm. Then they're like, wow, something like this is actually happening somewhere in the village, Arugungu. Then before you know it, somebody contacts you and they say, look, we need to link up with you so that we can have your contact and start off taking from you. That is the simple power of technology. As I said from my conversation earlier, technology doesn't have to be expensive before it's efficient. It's what we have within our disposal that we can use to create benefits, that we can use to create opportunities and create jobs for us around the agricultural ecosystem. And one of the things that I heard the Commissioner for ICT has also done is by building, I hear him say about internet services across several local governments, whereby even youth can also tap into that and say, look, I may not be able to afford data, but if I go to the nearest local government, I can have access to data. And with this data, I can share information to the world about what I'm doing regarding my agricultural services. These are opportunities that is exposed to us. Now, big data today is expensive. Everybody needs data to plan. Everybody needs data to work. Everybody needs data to move. And with data around agricultural ecosystem alone, it's enough to give us decision-making tools and areas where we can actually start, hitting the food crisis that's happening currently in the world. And we all know the story currently that, look, there's food crisis. But if you have data that can speak to numbers of farmers across several agricultural value chain, it helps us to produce better. It helps us increase better. And it also helps us to make our work efficient and faster. Now, let's leave it from the angle of ICT. Now, let's take it a little bit higher. So another level of digitalization or probably a technology that could help us improve our markets or agricultural ecosystem. Now, another one is building of a go-to-place market app, whereby you can build a small app, an app that would say, look, we have tons of farmers centered in a particular location, probably in Zulu, and they're producing a particular commodity together. Let me say ginger, for example. Ginger farmers in Zulu, they're all together and all that. And there's an export market somewhere, probably in China or Taiwan or Malaysia, that needs the same ginger for their own produce over there. Then if these farmers can come together and say, look, there is an app that has all our farmers that produce ginger in Kebbi, and somebody in Taiwan that needs ginger, automatically now press that button or go to that application and sees the available of or tons of ginger available in Kebbi produced by the farmers. It is easier for them to now communicate and begin to make markets easier. So you can see that it has brought about closeness of gap that is not there before. Now it means that somebody probably in Malaysia can see your tons of markets here in Zulu and say, look, we need to communicate and see how we can begin to transact in foreign currencies. So it exposes markets, it brings together foreign exchange and also help improve our livelihood, even as farmers. So that is the simple power of technology in which we can put together to help build a functional ecosystem. That is another one. Now, the other part, again, is the use of, let me use the power of drones, drone technology. Now, we all know drone technology. We've seen drones, in several areas to do several things. Now, the question is, how can we begin to use drone technology to even improve the work of our farmers? I remember sometimes last year, we were actually cultivating about 200 hectares of maize somewhere in Kwara. And we had to use drone technology to spray most of our commodities, our crops that was planted over there. So it means that what we did was just to ensure that the work of our farmers was less stressed out, because with drones, we could cover the entire tons of hectares in 3 days. Whereby if you use manual labor, you would cover such hectares in not less than a month or thereabouts, being availability of even if you have workers on ground. So but with drone technology, we're able to cover tons of hectares within 2 days. And that was it. And it makes our work efficient, effective, and easy. So those are the powers of technology. And that is the level in which I believe that Kebbi, needs to transcend into now. You've done the bits you could do in terms of producing, and you've done massively well in that angle. And I saw what, the CV of the Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture, what the government is doing, providing inputs, seedlings, supporting farmers, remuneration and all that. Fantastic. Now we now need to take it further by adding technology, by adding digitalization, by adding ICT, so that younger agripreneurs that are coming up can begin to use technology to now merit the work of the aged farmers that have labored so much on the farm. That is the power of technology. And that is definitely how we believe that it could work together, match together, and make a better food producing country. And Kebbi State, as I said, is, if not one of the biggest states today that is known across the country for agricultural development across all value chain or crop production value chain as it is. So let me just leave it there. So let me see if you have another question, then we'll now take it further.
Wow, powerful, powerful, powerful. Thank you so much, Mr. Aki Alabi.
Thank you.
You hit some very right spots in your conversation this morning. I like the fact that you spoke to the benefits, how ICT can benefit smallholder farmers. I know sitting amongst the audience are some farmers association. These are smallholder farmers in their various farms, doing little work that add up to the big work that feed all of us in different parts of Nigeria. So the fact that, in their small farms, they can leverage something as little as their smartphones to take pictures and share to a wider market and get, bigger bargains for their produce. I think that's some very strong value that people here can take advantage of immediately. Then you spoke about other things that can be looked into in the future. You spoke about drone technology. You spoke about developing an app that some of these smallholder farmers can come together, upload their produce, and people in different parts of the world can log into the app and see what they are doing. So I would say, I'll take this back to Awal. Awal, the hub manager. These are the kind of initiatives that we want to see coming out of this kind of session. So maybe you think about it, probably a hackathon or something. Let us get the youth to start working on some of these ideas and see how we can take it up from just mere conversations like we're having today to actionable items that, the farmers sitting down here and the farmers in their farms can take advantage of. Thank you so much, Mr. Aki Alabi. Very insightful contributions you have made to this.
Before I go, Chinelu, sorry, before I go, just to contribute to the work of Kebbi ICT, I wrote a book called The Rise of Digital Agriculture. So what I'm going to do is this. For every participant that is here today, Awal can send me an email, probably all their email. I'm going to send them the free e-copy of the book so that all of them can have it and read it and understand different tools that can be used to develop agriculture today in Nigeria and how we could use it to develop the state. So I want to just send me an email and have the list of those who want to have it, and we'll send them an e-copy of the book, The Rise of Digital Agriculture. Thank you.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Aki Alabi for that very generous contribution that he has made today to this session and to the people sitting here. Thank you, Mr. Aki Alabi. Please hang in. I don't know if you're in a hurry to leave.
Oh, no,
hang in. We'll still come back to you for more insights if you're not in a hurry to leave. So I'll go back to the Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture, Honorable Dakingari. Sir, please, I want you to speak to some of the challenges. I mean, the government is doing so much. I'm actually, in fact, I was really, really overwhelmed and impressed by all the work that you're doing. But let us hear some of the challenges that you are facing as a ministry and that maybe some of the farmers are facing. This is a knowledge sharing session. Maybe we can come up with solutions to some of these challenges from a session like this, sir. You can go ahead and speak to some of the challenges, sir.
Good afternoon. Once again, I would like to talk on maybe the challenges and how ICT can complement the efforts being put in by the government of Kebbi State towards the improvement of agriculture in the state. Like it has been said here from some of the speakers, there is need from the Minister of ICT, first of all, to conduct some series of trainings for some of the selected staff across our MDS. I mean, the ministries and the agencies under the Ministry of Agriculture. We have professional agencies under us. And I believe if the ministry can conduct training in order to make some selected staff ICT compliant, that in the ministry we can have an office solely for ICT, and also such offices in all the agencies under our ministry. I think that is a stepping stone in trying to assist farmers across the state as far as agriculture is concerned. That goes to say that we conduct a series of farmer enumerations across the state. So with the establishment of these offices in our ministry and the agencies, we try to, as much as possible, to enumerate and to get data of these farmers across the state, across all the crops being produced in the state. You know, we have so many of them being produced in commercial quantity. This also goes to show that Kebbi State is ready to have investors from whichever source they can come, because these commodities are produced in commercial quantities, which means if there is an investment, a company that comes to Kebbi State to invest, it will invest and profitably get the benefits of their investments, because the produce are there being produced in abundance. We have enumerated so many of them. Onions are there, cassava, potatoes are there. We have maize being produced in commercial quantity, sorghum, soybeans, and a host of others. So if, for example, we get this ICT in place and we enumerate all the farmers that are in Kebbi State that are involved in the production of onions, we know their locations through ICT, they are mapped through ICT, they are registered on their farmlands through ICT, and then the records are there. I think it will greatly assist these farmers in getting support services. Like Mr. Akin said, I think we have tried it before. The records of farmers are there. If we decide to distribute fertilizer, if only we can use ICT, we know that their locations, their data has already been captured, their locations are there, their phone numbers are there, their whatever is there, they will only hear an alert of allocation of fertilizer or any other input that maybe government can decide to support them with. Another thing also maybe I will recommend is for ICT also to collaborate with us as far as agriculture is concerned, so that together we can fish out maybe companies that are engaged in research as far as agricultural commodities are concerned, so that they will have a platform where these agencies can be captured and they can be contacted with their contributions, their daily innovations can be captured under this platform. We can access them whenever the need arises. New technologies that come through these companies can be easily accessible, and the farmers that have also been registered can accept them by themselves through even the small Android phones they hold. And another area too, which I would like to suggest, if government can also, yeah. So if government can also collaborate seriously with these registered farmers in terms of getting collaboration with NIMET that give information, daily information to the farmers, maybe when to expect rains, when the rains will start, when the rains are expected to stop, and that will assist us maybe in getting improved variety of seeds that are early maturing. Because if the rains cannot be there for maybe up to 4 to 5 months, there will be likelihood of drought. So we'll get crops that are timely in harvest to give to our farmers. And also if there are any other disasters that may likely occur during the season, that our farmers will be readily made aware of. And then the issue of even when to start planting and what to plant, when to apply fertilizers and what have you, can be easily, the information can easily be passed to our smallholder farmers across the state. These two will greatly assist them. And I can also say if government through the ICT, I know there is a company, this is a company, not a company as such. What do we call this? Trying to bring out agricultural policy for Kebbi State. I'm saying you said program. It's a USAID program trying to bring out a policy for agriculture in Kebbi State. I think ICT should be involved because what they intend to do is also to map the whole state, taking into consideration the different soils that we have in Kebbi, in Arungu, in Yauri, and Zulu, and the many other districts and the village ward areas, so that they will bring out maybe the different types of crops that may be planted in those areas, the different fertilizers in accordance with the soil fertility there, the lack in other nutrients, and what will complement the nutrients to make the soil much more fertile. All these things are going to be in the agricultural policy for Kebbi. And I think ICT can be one of those that will assist greatly in passing this information from top to bottom to our smallholder farmers wherever they are in the state. And there's also need, because agriculture now, like I said, it's a business. We want it to be commercialized in the form of land preparation, land management, that is providing fertilizer, chemicals, spraying, and what have you, and when to spray, when to apply fertilizers, whether 1, 2nd, 3rd application, and also the harvesting. All these needs mechanization. So ICT, I think, can collaborate with the Minister of Agriculture to bring out maybe the companies that we deal with, and also to see that they are brought on board on this platform that we have for ICT in Kebbi State, because that will make us at any given time to access maybe what they have, whether they have new innovations, whether they have new technologies to pass to us, that will go down to our small scale farmers in the state. And also this agency, what do I call that? not hybrid, hydrological
services agency.
Agency is also one agency, like I said, because right now we are facing the challenges of climate change. You know, the rains, as we used to have rains, are no more there. So we need to have information from this hydrological department who goes into research and see what we are expecting for the coming season. It will go a long way in assistance. Like I said, we must target those things that will reduce the losses being incurred by our farmers. In Kebbi State, you know, we have had experiences of so many losses as a result of floods. So I think collaboration with this hydrological agency will also be very, very important.
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. You have said a lot. I mean, there are a lot of work. I mean, for what you have said, it's a lot of work. Okay. Yeah, it's good now.
Inform you. I said I just forgot to talk about the drones, as Mr. Akin, when he was addressing us, said the drones are very, very important. And I think the Minister of Agriculture in Kebbi State too is in collaboration with a company that supplies these drones. These drones, as we all know, are technologically equipped. First of all, they can be used in accessing the farms of whichever location we decide to put them. And like he said, it can be done within the shortest possible time rather than doing all those things manually. And they can also register farmers on their locations through ICT, and this will be in the most effective and efficient way. They can also even spray the farmlands where maybe we have issues with insects, and the drones can also be used, most importantly, for security services. That is what we are considering to advance to the state government to maybe buy into it, so that some of these drones can be procured for Kebbi State for these important purposes. That's what I forgot to inform you. We are now in the mood of collaboration with this company, and by the time we finish, we will advance to our principal and see whether we can procure some of them. Thank you very much. Sorry. By and large, since when we came at the inception of this state, not this administration, at the creation of this state in 1991, there was an embargo on appointments because we came with a bloated civil service list. And so there was an embargo, and this embargo resulted into many of our extension workers having gone on retirement. So right now, we don't have sufficient extension workers. So ICT, I think, can play a very great role in extension services, carrying informations that are vital for the consideration of our smallholder farmers across the state. This is something that also the Minister of Agriculture would like to see the Minister of ICT getting involved into. I don't know, maybe there is also need for us to collaborate and see that the data that has been collected by the ministry and the ICT, we can put in something that because everybody now is, I think, having one form of Android, whether it is a phone, Android phone, a laptop, or a tablet. You can find them everywhere. Especially if there is connectivity across the states. This is another area too that the Minister of ICT should see that government, as much as possible, makes it as a priority. See that there is network for ICT across Kebbi State. This will go a long way in our smallholder farmers getting access to whatever information that is going to be passed from top to bottom. And then from them, maybe in terms of their requirements, they may pass through this system. I think that this will greatly assist in the transformation of agriculture. If all these things are put in place, agriculture will be transformed to greater heights, not only in Kebbi State, in Nigeria. We will have abundance of food. There will be food security assurance. A lot of wealth will be created for our people. The economy of the country will also be enhanced. And we will no longer have problems of insecurity, because I think one could not divorce the general insecurity we are facing from the problems being encountered as far as food security and other needs are concerned. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Magoro, can you please lend a voice, speak to some of the challenges that he has, he said a lot, and it's clear that ICT can help to transform the agricultural sector of Kebbi. You have said a lot that is being done, but from what the Commissioner has said, sir, how can the ICT ministry still further support the agricultural ministry to push some of these initiatives? Honorable Magoro, sir.
Okay, I would like to thank the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture for actually opening up and letting us know what the various challenges regarding ICT are in the Ministry of Agriculture. For most people, they just expect that ICT should just turn up and perform magic wherever they are facing challenges. And that is really basically not how it works. We need to understand where you are and where you want to be and the gap in between. Now, by presenting these points to us, we now have a better understanding of the gap that needs to be closed for the Ministry of Agriculture to get where they want to be regarding ICT being integrated as part of agriculture. Now, before I answer the Honorable Commissioner's questions. I would first of all like to start by giving you a brief understanding of the journey so far by the Ministry of ICT, so that you'll be in a better position to understand why we are where we are and not moving at a faster pace that maybe some people would have expected or we think we should be. Now, first of all, as I said earlier on, the Ministry of ICT is the youngest ministry you have in Kebbi State. Youngest, but also strategically important. It was created in January 2020 by His Excellency Senator Abubakar Atiku Bagudu. And this was because basically the world, as we know, in the past 10 years has seen a serious technological transformation, be it our personal lives or work. And looking at it from that point of view, you can see that most people now cannot do anything without the inputs of technology. Hardly any of us can leave our homes without our smartphones. If you forget your smartphone, you go back quickly to go get it before you go to wherever you're going to. Now, this is how technology has impacted our lives. Now, on realizing this, His Excellency saw that Kebbi State would need to move fast and also key in to the opportunities that technology presents. We have a state with a population of about 4 million people. And as earlier on stated by Mr. Akinalabi, he stated that Kebbi State is mainly an agrarian state. Now, when you have a population of 4 million people, you now look at the youth population in the state, you're looking at about 70% of that. Now, when you have 70% of 4 million people, of 4 million people, it gives you about 2.8 million people. Now, if you look at those that are employable from the ages of 19 to 30, that gives you another 20%. That means it gives you 20% of 4 million people, which is about 800,000 people. Now, being an agrarian state, and looking at the civil service, the government sectors, either you're working as a civil servant mainly in Kebbi State or you're working in the agricultural sector. Now, most people have this impression in Kebbi State that working for government is the first option. That's the youth now, before they think of agriculture. So when you look at the numbers for the civil service from state level to local government level, I don't think we have more than 50,000 people being employed. So out of 800,000 employable people that you have in the youthful sector that are employable, you end up with a gap of about 750,000 people that are out of a job. And the only way forward now is definitely to look at agriculture and to see how it can be attractive to them. Now, ICT, this is where ICT now comes in to play that important role. Now, one is to make sure that there's a conducive environment for ICT and agriculture to thrive in the state. And that is where we come in to make sure we provide the right infrastructure for government, make sure we provide the right, make sure there's the right capacity building for the government staff so that there's a proper citizens engagement that will be in place between the government and the citizens. This is, for example, this is why we have the ICT hub that has been created in Kebbi State. The government has intervened through the Bank of Industry and created this hub where we can now provide ICT skills to the youth of Kebbi State, and they can now take this opportunity or use this opportunity to either find solutions to challenges which we are currently facing in the agricultural sector in Kebbi State or the country or the world at large. And with that, they don't have to just rely on working for government, but they can actually fend for themselves with the skills that they've acquired. Now, going back again, we also have to look at how we can provide capacity building for the various farmers across the state and the various people across the state so that they can tap into the ICT sector. Now, the ICT hub, which we've started off with in Benin Kebbi with the Bank of Industry, is just a start. We plan on replicating this across the 21 local governments. We are currently working in Fakari local government and Jega local government to set up ICT hubs, which we intend to finish in the next couple of months. Now, with that, we are spreading this skill set opportunities to the youth across the state. Now, when you look at that, you now see that based on the numbers I mentioned and basically the traditional practices of the people of Kebbi State, technology is something which you have to take step by step, build the foundation, and make sure that you create that enabling environment before you now say you're going to push it out fully to the people in the state. Because technology is something that you just is expensive to implement if you're going to bring in most things that are innovative based on the kind of situation we find ourselves in Kebbi State in most areas. So you have to think of how it will be sustainable and not just bringing it for the sake of bringing in technology. Now, we have made considerable progress over the past couple of years with positive results, like the ones I mentioned earlier on of getting the data of all the farmers, or not all the farmers, but a lot of farmers in Kebbi State. This was done in 2020, and as the Honorable Commissioner mentioned earlier on, that if we could collaborate with the Ministry of Agriculture regarding this data, yes, we can, and we intend to, because data we collected 2 years ago, by now there should have been new entrants into the ecosystem, which we'd like to capture. So definitely we'll be working together with the Ministry of Agriculture in the next data capture we're going to carry out. The last one we carried out was basically on an online data capture where the various people we captured went online and put in their input. But now we want to also have a physical one and an online one. So that is where working with the Ministry of Agriculture and also like the Ministry of Commerce would come into play. Now I was answer the questions of the Honorable Commissioner one by one, like training for staff of the Agric Ministry. As I mentioned earlier on, we intend on carrying out trainings, not just for the Agric Ministry, but all the staff of the ministries, the various MDAs. But in this regard, we would focus more on the Agric Ministry based on a tailored kind of training that they require. So when we sit down with you and we get more information, we'll tailor something specifically for the Agric Ministry so that it fits exactly the scope of what they intend on achieving. Regarding having staff, ICT staff in the ministries, during the trainings, we normally have, each ministry MDA has content managers. These content managers are the ones we've identified that we would now convert to ICT staff that will be permanent in all the MDAs. So that is something also we are working on, and we also work concurrently with the trainings which we intend on carrying out. Just we should start after the Ramadan period. Then farmer enumerations across the state, data capture, I just discussed that. Research in agri. Now, the research in agri part is something which we also would like to work with the Ministry of Agriculture. We just recently made contact with the Ministry of Science and Technology at the federal level, and they would now be working with the Ministry of ICT in Kebbi State, because we don't have a Ministry of Science and Technology presently in Kebbi State. So the Ministry of ICT will now take up that responsibility, working with the Ministry of Science and Technology, and all the various research institutes are under that federal ministry, which we can now take advantage of and see how it can also be of benefit for us in Kebbi State. In terms of working with NIMET for information on weather and how we can get this across to the farmers, one of the areas which we've been working on and we intend on rolling out soon, of course, with the inputs of the Ministry of Agriculture, is smart agriculture in the state. Basically, this is where, as Mr. Alabi had mentioned, using your mobile devices, be smart or just a basic one, to be able to get information regarding agriculture at the areas that will be beneficial to the farmers, be it the weather, be it fertilizer, be it the market opportunities. Now, regarding the market opportunities, we had recently just concluded first part of the training for SMEs. Now, the SMEs which SME association, various SME associations which had in attendance, I think, Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, Women Farmers of Nigeria, Kebbi State Branch, and various other agricultural associations. Now, the whole idea of this was to get them to understand the opportunities that are available for them regarding ICT and how they can leverage on this using the various platforms that are available out there to be able to market or sell their products to the general public, not just in Kebbi State, but the country or the world at large. So basically, we decided that the best way to go about can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Audio connected.
You can speak if you
Can you hear me? Okay. So sorry about that. We had network issues and we're trying to resolve it. Now, as I said earlier on, I stopped by. Okay, we had decided that the best way to go about it would be to have a listings site where the various SMEs in the state would have their information listed, and for the general public to be able to access this site and get information and on the SMEs and the various sectors they're into and the products that they have available. Of course, working together with logistics company, God is Good, which we had discussed with, and to provide these various SMEs with a freight rate that is discounted to enable them be competitive in the markets across Nigeria. So basically, looking at it from, as I said earlier on, that's why I give you a brief journey about why we are moving at the pace we're moving and not probably at the faster pace which some people would have expected, is to enable the various farmers and the SMEs in the state to first of all get used to this new approach of integrating technology in their operations or in their businesses, first of all, before we now move to the next level. Now, going back to what the Honorable Commissioner asked again about the losses, wastages, and also floods, this is also part of what we intend of integrating into the smart agriculture platform, which we intend on coming up with. Regarding the drones, we would also be interested in partnering with the Ministry of Agriculture in this project, and to see maybe we can start up with a pilot project before going fully across the state, or depends on what approach that they prefer to have. Now, embargo on recruitment and appointments, this is also something that has affected our ministry, and you wouldn't want to know how much it has affected our own ministry too, because ICT is a ministry where you need to have the right hands to assist. And of course, you talk about also the payments, the salaries and all that's supposed to be competitive, not just regionally, but across the country. So that is also a challenge we're facing, and we're trying to come up with a solution. Internet connectivity, basically, as you mentioned, for the state and the rural areas, there's a rural telephony project that we got the proposal, which we have already presented to His Excellency. We've scrutinized this over the past 1 year to look at the pros and the cons of getting involved in this project, and so far the pros outweigh the cons. So we're just waiting for consent or approval before this is properly rolled out in about 50 something or 60 areas of the state which are not presently connected by internet. So basically, these are the areas. Sorry. Okay, so basically these are the, I hope I've answered on all the questions that Honorable, or points that the Honorable Commissioner raised, and we will be glad to work, the Ministry of ICT will be glad to work with the Ministry of Agriculture to see how we can get solutions to all these problems that we're facing. Now, I would also like to use this opportunity to put this as a challenge, across as a challenge to the youth of Kebbi State, to see how they can come up with solutions which are unique to not just the agricultural sectors that they are familiar with, or the areas which they've identified that their challenges, and they can actually come up with a certain solution. Now, most of the solutions you find out there that you come up with apps, there are apps out there for these providing solutions to these problems, started basically with ideas. Now, the best way to come up with this integrate technology as a part of this solution is to take advantage of the hub which we have here in Brendan Kebbi, the technology hub. There are various programs which they run, and I would strongly advise the youth to participate or take part in these programs. Some of them are free, some can be sponsored by the ministry, and also some they'd have to pay for. But the benefits far outweighs the costs, if that is probably what might put them off. Because once they have these skills, they will be able to provide solutions that can help the states and help their people, and at the same time, probably even make money that they never thought they could make from such solutions. The Kebbi State Ministry of ICT is always ready to listen to people that have suggestions or ideas. Our doors are open. They can always come to us at any time they feel. And His Excellency has given us support over the years, and we continue to thank him. And we hope that this is just going to be a beginning, and not for people to see it as we have reached the climax or plateau of what we intend to achieve in Kebbi State. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Maguro. You have shared a lot, and to the he has stated clearly that his doors are open. His doors are open for innovation, innovative ideas that he's willing to work with you to move the state forward. So please come up. I mean, everybody sitting here, you can tell your younger ones at home, you can tell your brothers and sisters. The ministry is open to work with innovative youth. And this kind of sessions, that is really what it is about, spurring innovation in people. So a lot has been said here. This is a challenge to the youth. Just to add to what the commissioner has said, please, let's think of those bright ideas. The hub is here to support you. Bring those ideas to the hub, even if they are not clear in your head. We have people in the hub that are experienced to help you put together those ideas, in a way that they can be impactful, they can be meaningful to solve the problems of the state. Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. The Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture spoke about another challenge that is not to you, Honorable Magoro. He spoke about, attracting investors, and that would be around funding for the state. And we are fortunate enough to have the state manager of the Bank of Industry, Mr. Suleiman Umar. He's here with us. I would like to call upon him to please, speak to this issue of funding for smallholder farmers, funding for, funding opportunities. What does the BOI have in place to support these farmers and their agricultural value chain? Over to you, Mr. Suleiman, sir.
All right, good afternoon, Chinelo. Good afternoon, the Honorable Commissioner for ICT, the Honorable Commissioner for Agriculture, Honorable Dakin Nagari, the PAMSEC, the corporate farmer, Akina Lavi. Good afternoon, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I'm glad to be here. This is the second in this series. We did the first one on education, and this is on agriculture. And we all know Kebbi is an agrarian state, and discussions must be centered around agriculture. That's just the truth. And thank God there's ICT that will take us to the next level. Already, we have a comparative advantage in Kebbi. We just have to harness the resources together to get competitive advantage. We go in rice farming, millet, onions, a whole lot of agri products. For us in BOI, Kebbi is very dear to us. We finance along the value chain. the whole value chain, be it you want to start manufacturing inputs for the agriculture, you want to process. We go as far back as doing primary agriculture, which we don't do before some 3-4 years ago. So basically for agriculture, the way we do agriculture in Nigeria, and Kebbi in particular, we do more manual. Without mechanization, we cannot really get good yields in the product. For instance, in a hectare of rice, for instance, the Commissioner of Agri this year, let me not just quote figures that he'll tell me is wrong. So just example, right? For instance, if you're using mechanized farming for a hectare of rice, you tend to get almost 60% more than what a manual farmer gets, right? So you see, and again, less labor required, although capital intensive, but less labor required. The output is also better because, for instance, in say rice farming, for those that go the whole 9 yards with mechanized farming, you don't have the issues of having stones in the rice, so processing is also easier. So for agri, let's ensure that mechanization is the focus, and that's where the ICT comes in. This will take the partnership a long way. Everything around mechanization, be it you want to develop a product, we finance that. You have products already, you want to expand, you want to expand, you have a dead factory, for instance, you also want to revive it. So we focus on the mechanization part as well as the processing part. Then other things along the value chain, which is also lacking in Kebbi, for instance, the onions. It's sad that up to this moment, we still don't have a storage facility, a modern way of storing the onions. Once you harvest, you'll be sad to see how bad this is in Alero and all that, because there's no preservation. I know the state government is working on getting an onions processing factory, but I also want to encourage people here and also take the message to others that are not here that Kebbi is good for investment. They can come invest in the raw materials are there. You can come invest in onions processing, rice processing, millet. You have a whole lot of agro products are there to process. And I will also say that we also have a relatively good power in terms of electricity. So you say that's another advantage. For labor, is also cheap, right? The labor in Kebbi is also cheap. So the equipment, once you make up your mind to invest in that, we are available for the funding. Just a brief rundown of what you might require is for instance, if what you need for your business, for your agri venture is between 0 to 5 million, you don't have to even provide a collateral. All you need is just 2 guarantors, right? Then for those that have ventures that require more capital, you provide your CFOs. From Kebbi, yes, we take it. We take from Kebbi, we take from any other state capital. Just to support the bank's position. CBN will not even allow us to give out loans without collaterals. So please, and also for the interest rates, is a single digit, because for the agro mechanization product, is a special product. And I'm glad to announce that it's only in Kebbi that I've accessed that product in the whole of the bank. We've done that product for farmers in Arugungu, some cooperative farmers who provided input, and that is on a single interest digit of 9%. So we want to see more of people coming in to access these facilities that can enhance their production. The Honorable Commissioner will also, for ICT, for whoever that wants to also go into needs drones and all that, we're also open to financing that as long as it's tied to the agri sector, right? So anything, basically whatever it is that requires equipment, yes, we do. We fund that. And in conclusion, the database for SME, the Honorable Commissioner of ICT talked about, we'll be very interested in that as well, so that we can, because the focus is to move Nigeria forward. Whoever that can assist in doing that, we are partners. So we also want to key into that. And if you need any support from us as well, we'll be willing to provide. And for those that we don't have in our database, we can also get from you and follow them up, see what we can do. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Suleiman. I would say you've practically given a blank check to the Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture and his people to come to you to fund some of the initiatives that they have. Okay, I can see the hands of Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture. So please, you want to speak to please, can you help unmute him so that he can speak?
Thank you. I just want to say something in regards to what the General Manager of Bank of Industry has just said. We are very much happy to hear this very sweet words, because the experiences we have had previously with these professional banks, Bank of Industry, Bank of Agriculture, even Bank of Agriculture, and a whole lot of commercial banks who have been complaining to them to please bring down their stringent requirements as far as our smallholder farmers to be able to get soft loans from them to develop their farmlands. But I'm happy if what the manager is saying is true. I think if fetching 5 million naira only requires you to bring 2 sureties, I think it will go a long way in assisting us to develop agriculture in Kebbi State. I hope what he's saying is getting loans. We have had experiences. So many of our farmers who want to go into agricultural business, and they have applied. In fact, they have even established. I have a colleague who has established a company for more than 100 million naira, but getting, I think, about 20 million naira has become a bottleneck, and can still not access that 20 million naira. So I don't know why somebody who has invested more than 100 million naira cannot be given 20 million naira to boost the fortunes of his company. Like you rightly said, we have, and I said it also, we have all the commodities that are being produced in Kebbi State are produced in commercial quantities, and only waiting for businesses to come and thrive. And the bottlenecks we have been getting is from financing side, and that is from your own side. Please, I want you to assure us that you and your contemporaries in the state have decided to reduce to the barest minimum your stringent requirements, so that smallholder farmers that are very much in large population in Kebbi State, what we talk of maybe 200 to 400 farmers, we may have more than 1 million farmers in Kebbi State that maybe could not be able to develop their farms because of lack of resources, and they can do very much getting soft loans from your commercial banks and professional banks. in terms of development of agriculture and small and medium enterprises. Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. I'm happy for this session because really, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Right, I'm happy for this session, but because in reality, people just have the notion that getting facilities from Bank of Industry is actually, it comes with a lot of conditions. And Honorable Commissioner, sir, the condition is not new. It has always been there. It's just the feeling that probably from experience with commercial banks, that's why people feel it's the same situation with the Bank of Industry. And it was deliberate that I mentioned it, out of the conditions, it was deliberate that I mentioned getting two guarantors and getting a collateral, because for us, that is the only condition that is outside the control of the entrepreneur, of the entrepreneur. Because for every other condition, there are things he can meet within. He doesn't have to talk to anyone. There's no sweat in getting those, saying, okay, for instance, let me just give a brief rundown so that the Honorable Commissioner will understand what I'm saying. For instance, if you're applying for a facility between, say, 0 to 5 million, you write an application letter on your company letterhead. You provide your ID card, passport, right? You provide bank statement if for the enterprise, that's if the enterprise is existing. If it's not, you provide your personal bank statement for the period of 1 year. You provide invoice for whatever it is you want us to finance. If there's need for raw materials, you also provide invoice for the raw materials. Then the big, then it has to be registered, obviously. So you provide all your CSC registration, and be it enterprise, limited liability, whatever registration you have with CSC. We also do cooperative, but on a very stringent condition because of the nature of cooperatives. But it's easier with enterprise and all that. So you see, of all the things I mentioned, they're actually under the control of the entrepreneur. It's just the guarantor that you have to go out of your way and talk to people that believe in you. And I keep telling people when they say, you don't, how do I get guarantors? I say, if people in your community don't believe in you, how do you expect me to believe in you? So getting two guarantors, for me, if you're actually in business and people around believe in you, it shouldn't be a problem getting two guarantors, really. And thank God for the improvement in the financial sector. Now we have the global standing instruction, which definitely will go a long way by reducing all these other conditions, even with the commercial banks. Because with global standing instruction, they don't have to start chasing you to repay your loan. They can just go into your account in any commercial bank and debit it for loan repayment. So the system keeps improving. So and for the person, for instance, for the person you mentioned, I don't know if it's with us, but if it's with us, obviously the obvious reason for a 20 million facility to be delayed has to be with the collateral, because CBN does not allow us to give out loans without collateral. So if it's a 20 million facility, obviously he will need to provide a CFO, be it in CFO in Kebbi State. And I also want to use this CFO signed by the Kebbi State government. I also want to use this opportunity to also appeal to the executive council members here to also push it for the state to assist these entrepreneurs in issuing CFOs, because for some, they have very, very viable business going on, but the challenge is they don't have, their capacity is more than the 5 million we're talking about without collateral, right? But they can't access it because they don't have CFO. So I also want to use this opportunity to solicit your support, the executive council members here, the two commissioners, to please bring this up as well in the meeting at higher level so that the entrepreneurs can be assisted. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Suleiman. Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture, are you satisfied with the response, sir? He's muted. Unmute him.
Okay, my response. Yes, I'm satisfied, so to say, but with the elaborate explanation of the general manager or MD, I think still certain bottlenecks that an ordinary smallholder farmers in our state cannot meet up with, because getting two sureties, an ordinary farmer from my village will be very difficult, because it involves getting money from the bank, and everybody fears getting money from the bank, because when you take money from the bank, you must pay. And the registration of the company involved, and what have you, getting this certificate or this certificate, I think that will constitute a challenge to our smallholder farmers. Let's forget about 5 million naira. I see if the Bank of Industry and that of Agriculture can assist smallholder farmers, maybe a farmer who want to manage his farm, a hectare, maybe 500,000 naira is enough. If he can bring in maybe his village head and or somebody from the local government, I think it's good if even a commercial bank can assist him to undergo that farming season, so that through monitoring after harvest, they can maybe give him a period upon which to repay. All we are saying is, in order for us to develop agriculture, surely we have to assist our smallholder farmers, because financing is the key. It's very, very important. We have so many challenges that if you don't have finance, you can never achieve 100% success. The experiences we have had in this dry season farming, when the price of petroleum products are so high, I think made so many of our farmers to step down, because there's nothing anybody can do about that. It's only if you have money that you can manage. This is what we are saying. Unless, of course, the ICT can also come into area of getting a solar-powered pumps. If we can collaborate and we procure solar-powered pumps in large quantity that can go across the state, I think that will assist also. Thank you very much for the effort you are making, leveraging our smallholder fund to get access to your funds. I think I'm satisfied. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, Suleiman, go ahead, please.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. Okay, for just a bit of explanation. I know the federal government last year opened a window for entrepreneurs to have free CAC registrations. So I'm sure for those that are key into that, that alone will go a long way in providing the CAC registration which is required. And I know for a local farmer probably getting 10, registering with CAC for price is not 10,000. Although it might be difficult for some people, but it's not more than 10,000. And on the guarantors, Honorable Commissioner, the caliber of people that can guarantee an entrepreneur will range from, be it local government workers, as long as they are civil servant up to grade level 12, they can guarantee the entrepreneur. So you have a civil servant, you have professionals, you have business people. So you have a whole lot of range of people that can actually guarantee this. So like I said earlier, sir, we want to believe if you're sincere with your intent in the business, you should have people that will support whatever it is you're doing, and that's it. We also take guarantees from the traditional rulers as well. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Suleiman. Thank you to everyone for your contributions on this panel. Looking at the time, and it's 1:21. We'll quickly take one or two questions from the audience, if there are, before we wrap up the session today. So any questions from the audience or the online attendees? Please signify by raising your hand.
Okay, we've collated questions here about, I grouped them, we have around 3 questions. So one goes to the Honorable Commissioner ICT and the other one to the Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture. And then one is almost directly directed to the hub. So perhaps if we could take that of the Honorable Commissioner so that we can allow them to take their leave, and then we'll continue with that address to the hub subsequently.
Okay, go ahead, Awa, go ahead with the question.
So the first one that goes to ICT, it's around provision of ICT in a particular ministry or agency. That's who is responsible for getting the ICT hardware items and who is responsible for training. That's the question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Who is the address now? Which of the,
regarding that question, the Ministry of ICT is in charge of the coordination of all ICT activities in Kebbi State. Now, this is part of the proposed policy which was presented to His Excellency just immediately after the creation of the ministry in 2020. Now, regarding hardware procurement, the Ministry of ICT ideally is meant to be responsible for the procurement of hardware for all the MDAs in the state. Now, the reason for this is to make sure that we stick to a particular specification that meets the minimum standard which we have identified. Then number 2 is also for us to make sure that we have an inventory of all the hardware that is procured by the state government. Now, the procurement of ICT hardware in some places where we don't know about the hardware that's there, and keeping track of the hardware can be a challenge. And number 2, some ministries or MDAs might actually need better hardware than what they're actually asking for. And because it cannot be coordinated, or the price of ICT equipment now is quite high, getting approvals might be more difficult. So it's easier to coordinate through the Ministry of ICT to push for this hardware, knowing that we would have done our own checks and make sure that it meets the specification, and would also keep track of the inventory of this hardware. It will be easier to get the buy-in of the exco and get the approval for the purchase of this equipment. Now, regarding trainings or capacity development, the Ministry of ICT is also responsible for the capacity development of these various MDAs. This is because, as I said, also is to maintain a standard, so that if you have a training in one MDA or you have it to another one, it's the same standard, so that even as civil servants, when you move them around, it's not as if you've taught them one thing here and they go here, they don't know what has been taught in the other one. So that standard is maintained and is there, and everyone can build or develop on what they have learned earlier on. So we're all moving at the same pace. not for people to be confused. So basically, the Ministry of ICT is a coordinating ministry and is also responsible for the implementation of these questions that you asked earlier. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the response to that question. Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture, I have 3 questions, though they speak to the same thing almost. It's if the ministry has a facility targeted specifically at young agripreneurs or core members who want to engage in agriculture, and that if the ministry has a particular program that targets mostly the youth section of the population. That's the question.
We have a program under the Ministry of Agriculture in one of our agencies that is now collaborating under NGKS. This is a 2-year program, COVID-19 support program project, and it aims at targeting youth, both men and the women. I think it's mandatory maybe to make sure that these youths are much more targeted, and the more especially women. I think they have made it mandatory that it has to be either 50-50 or not acceptable. So this is an area where youth, both even those who are engaged in the National Youth Service Corps, can come on board to benefit.
Okay. Yeah, that is the question. Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for that response. I have one question for the state's POI bank manager, Mr. Suleiman. I don't know if you're still here.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, great. So the question is, as you spoke to ownership of land, the question goes like, why can't the ownership right of a farm secure a smallholder farmer access to loan? Because he owns that land by, it can be ascertained that he owns that right to that land through the village head, next of kin, and other judicial backing and other documents that shows that particular farm belongs to him. So I don't know if you have a response to that.
Oh, okay. You know, for the Bank of Industry, we're guided by the laws, and the Land Use Act, the place that the ownership of land is strictly with the state government, except for situations where you have some solid minerals. So if any title to a land is not issued by the state, we cannot use that legally. We cannot use that because for situations where things go south, that will not be admissible in court, because we are bound to follow the rule, the constitution. Land Use Act stipulates strictly only the state governor has a right to issue you a certificate to occupy the land. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think the last question we have spoke to the contributions of both the Honorable Commissioner of ICT and Agriculture on the provision of ICT platforms that target around distribution of fertilizer, getting to communicate to farmers. And I think as a hub in developing that particular effort. And that's why we've been having this kind of conversations. Like the Commissioner of ICT said, that this is a challenge that's thrown to not only the hub, but to the youth in Kebbi State to be able to develop platforms such as this, because these are local problems that need local solutions. So I would like to say that the hub, one of the major reasons why the hub was established in the first place, for us to be able to sit down and identify our own local problems, and then nobody is going to build that solution apart from us, really. So as you've put this question that how do we build our platform, we're here as a hub to provide you with all the necessary skills that you need to build platforms such as this. So you are a problem solver, so to say, and not necessarily be the person to keep on asking of the questions, how do we do this, how do we do that? You should come down to the hub. We are very open to give you the necessary trainings and the guidance for you to actually build these platforms. And even like the Commissioner said, beyond Kebbi State, beyond Nigeria, beyond Africa, and even build solutions actually for the world at large. So this conclusively the questions we've received. I'll hand us over to our moderator if there's any comments before we take a close. Moderator, ma.
Okay, thank you, Awal, and thank you to everybody that have asked questions. So we have really run over our time. I would like to bring this session to an end. I want to deeply appreciate everybody's presence here, Honorable Commissioner for Agric, Honorable Commissioner for ICT, Mr. Suleiman, Mr. Aki Alabi, everybody here, everybody seated here, all the permanent secretaries. Thank you so very much. I'm sure we all enjoyed the session. If you enjoyed the session, can I please see your hands up from the audience, even from virtual? Yay! So good to hear. Thank you so much. And there's a lot of takeaways. Please, let's not end it sitting down here and speaking all this grammar, right? Please follow up with the ICT Commissioner. He has told us that his hands are open to receive us, all the youths with innovative ideas. Follow up with the Commissioner for Agriculture. He said so much that I know that smallhold farmers, entrepreneurs, youths looking to go into agric, there's so much that has been said that I want you people to please step up to the ministry and see how you can take advantage of all of the things that have been discussed here. The whole series is about leveraging ICT for economic growth, is empowering youth, is creating employment. And from all that have been said here, so many opportunities are discussed here. Please tell your people at home, for the people sitting down here, people online. We are going to try to broadcast this further, so that people will know what has happened here and people can listen. Thank God the session is being recorded. Come to the hub, they will give you a recording, a link to the recording. Get your people to listen to these things and take advantage of all of the things that have been discussed here to empower themselves, to create opportunities, job. There's so much in the agricultural sector that people can take advantage of. Please talk to your people at home, talk to your people, everywhere. Let us take from this discussion and move Kebbi State and Nigeria forward. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to moderate this session, and I'll hand over to Awal to please give us the closing remarks. Mr. Aki Alabi, thank you so much, and thank you to everyone. So over to you, Awal, for closing.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ma, for moderating this particular session. I would like to, on behalf of all the staff of the Kebbi Innovation and Tech Hub, specifically thank the Honorable Commissioner of Information and Communication Technology for being with us today, the Honorable Commissioner of Agriculture, his Permanent Secretary and his teams, professional directors, as he called them. Thank you very much for sharing with us the opportunities beyond what usually we see in Kebbi State. And for all of us here, I think through the course of this discussion, some challenges have been thrown open. Because remember, a part of all problems, especially in technology, for every problem lies an opportunity. And currently, I have problems in extension services, in fertilizer distribution, a marketplace for our farmers to actually put up their content online for people to see. And we also have flood control mechanisms, solar pumps, development. These are challenges that have been thrown open to our youth, and they will need our collective resolve in terms of building solutions to be able to address these. And also in terms of entrepreneurship, as we solve these problems, we should also have it at the back of our mind. We're solving problems with also providing employment for ourselves and of course for other people. So these are the key takeaways I've noted. And like I said, I wish to thank everyone who has taken his time to join us today. And then on the last point of call, it's after this program, like the moderator said, it doesn't end here. We'll knock on our commissioners' doors. We're going to see how we can organize a hackathon around some of these challenges that have been highlighted. So also for our youth you shouldn't also lose contact with the hub. Also engage the hub so that you know when these activities will happen and what it takes for you to actually participate. And then on a last call, it's the Commissioner of ICT spoke highly of human capacity development, which is actually very key for development of ICT. By May 9th, which is the second week of May, we'll be commencing hands-on trainings around web development, mobile app designs, graphics design, and robotics for kids. This is also an opportunity. We'll give you our marketing material for you to have with you, but I just informing you that we're also having those sessions so that either you, your own words, or any other person is deemed fit to participate in those trainings can actually register between now and 9th of May to actually partake in those training sessions. Some of the trainings have been graciously paid for, if I would say, so they will be at no cost to the participants. So when you engage the hub at any time you have at the reception, you can get information on how those programs will run. So thank you very much for joining us. And we hope by the time we're meeting next, it will be to discuss some of the solutions or some of the achievements we've achieved actually in agriculture. Thank you very much once again. Okay, group photograph. Those are on virtual call, Mr. Akin and Mr. Suleiman. Thank you very much as well. We can take a selfie with you virtually as well. We could take a picture with you virtually so that, let's switch to gallery view. Okay. All right, so you have it in 1, 2, 3, one shot. Let me get another one. Okay, I have the virtual shots. Thank you. So we'll proceed with the physical. Yeah, goodbye, Mr. Akin. Mr. Suleiman, thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. All right.
All right, thank you, Howard. Chinelo, thank you.
Thank you so much, Suleiman. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Akin. All right, so I'm going off. Thank you. Awa, you can give a tour of the hub before they leave. Is that out there? Okay. Bye. Bye, Mr. Suleiman. I'm out.
Okay, hello. Okay. Yeah, just 10 minutes. Let's go down. Let's ignore it. No one needs to.
Don't leave this roll up. Now, let's keep. Where is this one? Yeah. What are we doing in this case? Only graphics. What aspect of graphics? This is what? So graphics means animation, 3D modeling. No, Windows jump like data management linear here next to yeah, the relation you have it. And how quick level is it? So I want to show you how to polish the tax on it. So you want to be a web designer. I mean, as well, you want to be a web developer. I want to tell you, show you how to do it. To give you the skills that you need. What I want to do. Language is down everything. And you know the languages keep evolving. So still no matter the language involvement, there's this form that you must lay your hand on it. Once you are able to do in those phases, you can then proceed. This man that was talking, Suleiman, you know him. I want to ask him how to lay hand on that. Okay, we should. I should give you a picture. It's only Photoshop. Only Photoshop. Thank you. So these are the next one. There's no stop on this. Can you also do the same? You know the speaker. But it's cool. So let's take it. This one. That's me. One, 2, 1, 2, 4. 5, 0. 2, 1, 5, 2, 1, 6, 9. 2, 1, 7, 8. 2, 1, 5, 5. 2, 1, 6, 1. 2, 1, 6, 6. 2, 1, 8, 0. 2, 1, 8, 1. 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 6, 7. 2, 1, 6, 3. 2, 1, 0, 8. Yeah, these are the this one is not just just sorry, 215. How do you no write their number? Let me just call you number. Then that will fix it. It's written 2155. 2182.